What if I told you that someone built a successful business, kept it open for more than 7 years, and only put $1,000 of their own money to get it going? Yep. Keep watching, and I'm going to introduce you to her. Welcome back to the Speaking of Entrepreneurship podcast. I am your host, CP, and today we have a real she-boss in the house from my hometown, Youngstown, Ohio. So you got some women from the Yo who really know how to get it done to get together today. And I am excited because we have Mara Cunningham, a second-generation entrepreneur and the founder of Yo Crash, an award-winning stress relief experience and Ohio's first female-led rage room in the house. Over the past 7 years, Maya has built and grown her business in a way that most entrepreneurs never even realized possible. And she also is a guru working with a brand new concept of how you too can get funding. So we're going to talk today with Mara about her experience. And also, she's going to give you some great insight into how you can get the money that you need and the capital that you need in order to get your business going. So Mara, I am so excited to have you here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
But how was your drive in from the Yo?
Beautiful.
Okay.
I'm a road girl. I like to be on the road. So
do you?
It's good. Yeah.
Is it like your solo time, your decompressed time?
Yeah, I love silence.
Me too.
It is my silent time, my prayer time, devotionals.
Put a good meditation playlist on. Yeah, me too. I'm with you. All right. So I want to jump right in because your story really just took me to a whole nother level of admiration and inspiration. And I think that it's really important for our audience to really understand. So you built Yo Crash, right, into an award-winning experience. Female-led, female-owned, and you only put $1,000 of your own money into it. So how did you actually do that? What did that look like? Tell me what you did.
I took my time.
Okay.
I can truthfully say that. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs have... they tell you the glitz and the glamour and the fun stuff and all of the things when you're kind of doing all the work. And they don't speak so much to the grind and the grit and the patience that you have to have. And I sat down with myself. I sat down with what I wanted this business to be for my community. And I took my time and I figured it out. Mm-hmm. And then I launched it. Mm-hmm. And that was it. It was just being still and listening to what I really wanted to do and then moving and not moving first and then trying to figure it out on the way.
Getting that clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I work with my startup entrepreneurs, I always tell them that there's 3 phases of starting their business. And phase 1 is to start with clarity.
Yeah.
Been built with confidence and then launch to freedom. And the start with clarity phase, I agree, is the phase that, most people don't like it. And you're right. They skip right over it. They have no idea.
You have to be patient.
What they're doing.
You have to be patient.
Right.
Owning a business and being an entrepreneur has changed me in ways that I have never imagined. Mm-hmm. It has changed my mind, my patience, my thoughts, how I look at other people, how I look at the world. And if you're not willing to make that shift as an entrepreneur, I think you should make another decision. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but you have to sit down and really figure out what it looks like for you in your business because it will change the core of who you are.
How did it change you? What do you think were the biggest areas that really it shifted for you?
It shifted my patience, certainly.
You have more?
I have abundance of more.
I'm like, you have more? Right.
I have an excess of patience. I work in overflow of my patience. It also helped the way that I look at the world and the mindsets of other people. You have to start to be the lender, not the borrower, to kind of, of this conversation. You have to look at things differently. We are taught to be consumers, and now you are being the person that people will consume. Mm-hmm. So you have to change your mind. You have to kind of break out of that box of what we're taught to be. And that requires patience, that requires outlook, that requires being able to look into yourself inwardly. It requires looking at people outside of who they just present. It is who they are and the makeup of who they are. And it really just works for every aspect of who you are as a person, even the way you dress and present yourself. Because I remember I had to get a car for the business and I wanted to wrap it with my logo for marketing. And my dad was like, well, are you going to take the car to the bar when you go out with your girls at 2 a.m.? And I was like, well, I mean, it's the only car that I have. He said, I'm not saying you can't stop living your life, but if you go out in this car and you happen to hit somebody and your logo is wrapped around it, you have to be mindful of that.
Absolutely.
And it changed everything.
You're living your business 24/7.
You are living your business 24/7. You are a living representation of this thing that you built, and you have to change along with that if you want to grow.
Absolutely. I love that. I mean, I think that, for me as well, I think it was important for me to build a business that was authentically who I am and not choose something that had nothing to do with who I am and didn't capitalize off of my superpowers, didn't speak to, who I am. And it's funny because I always tell this story around one of my clients who came to me and we were working through her business ideas because she wanted to, start her own business. She had given herself this deadline to quit her job in a year. And she's like, I'm going to start this business and I have all these ideas and I really need your help to get clarity. And so we're on a coaching call and I'm like, all right, tell me a little bit about what you want to do. She's like, I want to make candles. I want to start a candle making business. I'm like, I love candles. I'm like, candles are in. Everybody loves candles. I said, tell me a little bit about how long you've been making candles. And she goes, I don't make candles. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Well,
she's like, well, I don't make candles. I said, well, why do you want to start a candle making business? She's like, because I saw this girl on Instagram that I've been following and I've been buying her candles for like a year and I love them. And she's a millionaire. And I figure if she can be a millionaire making candles, I can be a millionaire making candles. And I said, okay.
I mean, you can. It's going to require a little bit more thought than that. But
you can. I said, well, I love it. So tell me a little bit more about what you like to do. Then we went into this whole thing about how she loves serving at her church. She's like the administrative assistant for her pastor. He started lending her out to other churches in the area. She does all the stuff for the church. I'm like, you sound like, a VA when your target audience is churches. And she was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm like, and that's authentically who you are. And so I think that it's really important and speaks to what you said around realizing that you are going to be your business 24/7. And so why not just make sure that it's something that you love and can really pull off so you're not acting.
I can wake up every day and be myself. My staff can be themselves. I'm so appreciative of my crew and the guys that I have because we can just truly work in our passion and purpose work, and we don't have to feel like we're putting on a show. Like we're us, and it's a blessing to be able to do that.
So let's dive a little bit more in because you have a brick and mortar, right? So it is, a space that oftentimes when folks are starting businesses, if they're starting something they can work from home, it might be a little less, capital needed up front in order to really get it going. But that is not what you did. You jumped all in and you've got this experience. So walk us through what that capital situation looked like and what were some of the things that you utilized and how does that relate to your full life? What's the advice that you would say to somebody who's looking at wanting to do something like that and they're like, I just have no idea where to get the money?
Money is a very interesting topic to talk about as an entrepreneur because you all want to get to the bag, you want to get to the money, you want to be a boss girl, you want to be that guy, you want to do all that. And before that, it is hard times. It is looking about reinvesting. It is putting a pitch together because you might need to call your auntie and your uncle to, figure out some things.
But you got to have a pitch. Don't just call them.
Well, there you go. You got to have an idea. So I will say we had our brick and mortar and we opened up in March of 2020. And if anyone knows what happened in March of 2020,
literally
the entire world shut down. So did I. And from that brick and mortar store, we had the opportunity and it was presented to us to go mobile. And we decided, if people cannot come to us, we need to figure out a way to go to them. And it was all because of our purpose. We did not open up Yo Crash. And as all entrepreneurs, we say we, and I mean me. I did not open up Yo Crash to make money. I opened it up to make a difference, to make a change, to be able to solve problems, real world problems that I felt weren't being addressed in the way that our community needed them to be addressed. So the opportunity to go mobile was just another reason for us to say, if we can provide stress relief to people in the comfort of their homes, why would I not make that jump? And before I started the brick and mortar business, honestly, I went to every single class that was free, that was in my area. The library had courses. The man knew my name by heart. And when they ordered food, he would order food for me because he knew what I liked. He knew me so much. And I went there so much. I went to our local Women in Business Center. I went to our local MBAC. And God be the glory, the doors are locked. And I walked in, the door opened. I just walked right in. The receptionist was like, how did you get in here? And I was like, well, I need to talk to somebody about my business. And she was like, okay, well, let's sit you down with somebody. So getting that education, figuring out what funding is connected to that education. But also, once you get that free education, you are now a part of the ecosystem. You are a part of the email blast. You are a part of the invitations. And those invitations eventually will come with money, will come with grants, will come with funding. And then you're building your business in the same sense. You have that education to figure out what it looks like to build a plan, to have a pitch, to build a business plan, and what those things look like for you. So I say, especially when it comes to funding, figure out what is out there in terms of education for you. Do not always tie it into figuring out what funding is. Get a free education course that may not have any funding to it, but that person that's hosting will know someone, and they will know someone, and they will know someone. And one of the main things I learned in one of the courses that I got, and I take this advice to me to this day, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn what you don't know you don't know.
You do.
And when you hear it, it's like, well, how am I going to know But if you go out with the mindset to say, I know what I need, I don't know how to get it, but there's another step after that. And I have to figure out what that step is.
Yeah.
And once you go and figure out what you don't know, it puts you in rooms with people that you don't know, with funding opportunities that you don't know.
Yes.
And it helps your business be able to continue to grow.
And now you're on their minds. So even when you're not in the room, they will think of you.
Absolutely.
And they will reach out to you. And again, you mentioned like the divine intervention piece, because what I heard and what you said was you opened your doors March 20th. The purpose of your business was to help people relieve stress during one of the most record-breaking stressful times
unbeknownst to me
on the planet, right? That this pandemic that none of us in this lifetime have really ever experienced. And you immediately pivoted in order to be able to bring that problem, that solution, that problem-solving product to the world and the population. Do you think that all of the education and all of the work and effort that you had put into really sitting still with your business, getting that clarity, learning as much as you could possibly learn, figuring out, what you didn't know that you needed to know. Do you think that all contributed to you being able to make that pivot and still plow forward?
Absolutely. And you get to a point in a business where you can do something and walk away and say, I did well.
Yeah.
And I can put it down. But if there's still an itching and a calling on your life to do something, then you need to go and figure out what it looks like. And as a business owner, one of the main things you will need to know how to do is pivot.
Yeah.
And they teach those in those classes.
You 100% have to pivot
when
a
you're
million
doing
different times.
a million different times in ways that you didn't even know you had to pivot.
Yes.
And in those classes, they're going to teach you, if you're doing your financial projections and you have the month. For me, being in a brick and mortar, I should know summer's going to be a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Because people are outside. They don't want to come inside. But I need to figure out how to go and get those people. That's a pivot.
Yes.
And now as I'm mobile, it snows where we're at. So do I shut down? Do I find other avenues to be able to bring my product to the community that I like to serve? That's a pivot.
Yeah.
All of these things are different.
And if you're not prepared, you can't pivot.
And if you're not prepared and you're not educated and you don't know yourself and your business enough, you are absolutely not prepared and you are throwing it at the wall hoping it sticks, and it's not.
Yeah. I always tell my students, every year, at the end of every year, I create a growth plan for the following year for my business. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I actually do a CEO retreat. I think there's an entire episode that I did, and we talked about my CEO retreat, but I create a SWOT analysis of my business, and I look at the strengths and the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, which creates this need for me to do my market research, to update my competitive analysis, and to also dive more deeply into who my ideal customer is for my current stuff and also potentially for my future ideas, right? And that information empowers you to be able to pivot as well. If you are doing that, then you'll automatically be prepared, because I think about all those folks who did not pivot in 2020 and what ultimately ended up happening to them. Even though in 2019 there were glimpses and glimmers and signs that something real could possibly happen in 2020, and begin to prepare for things like DoorDash or delivery or retail establishments, restaurants. They really, really felt it. And those that didn't have the ability to say, okay, we're about to do drive-up service, weren't prepared to pivot, did not make it.
And it changed the entire landscape of the world.
It did.
And it's never going back.
Never.
The level of which we have been accustomed to convenience, things coming at your doorstep, is literally shutting down retail stores that we have been shopping for our grandmothers have been shopping at these stores. And if you as a business owner you're not prepared to enter the economy with that same mindset, you are going to be left behind.
Absolutely.
And it's so difficult to, especially in culture when we're hand-to-hand sales and word of mouth and all of that is great, but you have to know your business and know what it looks like to be able to grow that. And they talk about those SWOT analysis. I do one every year. Mm-hmm. I sit down and I figure out the marketing of what it looks like for our business, and I say this all the time when people start business. Who is your customer? How old are they? How much discretionary income do they have? What are their things that they do in their free time? Do they have kids? Do they have husbands? Are they single?
Yep.
All of those things.
What are their pain points, their challenges, their ultimate wants and desires? What transformation are they looking for?
Absolutely.
Yep.
What is the tone of the business that you are going to make a change for? There are two things that entrepreneurs always kind of, not all, but most entrepreneurs look at when they start a business is, I can't wait to sell this thing, and people need to know I'm great at it, and I need to sell it, and I want to make money selling this thing. And a lot of times, those are the only two things that people are worried about. And a business encompasses so much more than that. And if you do the work beforehand, those two things will come, and you will have no idea how to handle it. Yeah. I'm so grateful that I'm at the point, and I'm not there yet, but when I will, there will be signs. But I'm so grateful that I'm at the point now where I don't have to post for a couple of months, and there's still corporations and companies and schools that are still reaching out to me. Mm-hmm. Because the money now comes, the opportunity now comes, the blessings now come, and I don't have to do too much work to get them.
Right.
Not saying that the work still is not being done, because we work hard and we get the things done, but we've created systems. Yeah. We understand our customers. We know what our marketing looks like so that we can be able to present ourselves as leaders in the industry, because we are. But it does not take more work for us to do it. We did the work in the beginning. Now on the back end, we can say, oh, you can book us for tomorrow.
You have a strategy.
In our strategy, in our plan, in our systems that we have in place, you will have no idea that we were just trying to figure it out 24 hours ago.
I know, right, exactly. No, there is nothing like nobody having any idea that you were trying to figure it out 24 hours ago. That is one of my favorite things. And at the end of the day, when you're in the thick of figuring it out, you might feel stressed, but at the end of the day, I always say to myself, girl,
it feels good. It does.
Look at you.
It does. It feels good. You get a little addicted to it. You get a little addicted to the grind of it, because you're like running out the house, pulling shirts out of the dryer, and then you go in there and they're like, "Oh, we're so grateful that you're here." I'm like, "Girl,
I've been prepared for this my whole life." No, absolutely.
And you get in the car like, "We barely made it."
Right. I barely made it. So I want to dive a little bit more deeply into your experience with funding and with capital, because you do also work with HFLA, right? And I want to dive a little bit more into your experience from that angle as well, because from the entrepreneurial angle, you are looking at it from one place, but those who ultimately help support that from a capital perspective is a whole different lens that you have. And so a lot of entrepreneurs immediately think about credit cards, about business loans. They see all the folks on Instagram and Facebook and all those places that say, oh yeah, you don't need no credit. You can do this, you can do that. Here's 3 steps for you to go out and get your first business credit card and get that debt. What do you want people to understand about that mindset?
They are not wrong, but they are also not right. Mm-hmm. And it is their job to not tell you that. But it is also your job to find out what you don't know, you don't know. Mm-hmm. And if you know your business and you know your numbers and you know your cost of goods, you know of all of those small, minute details of your business, then you'll look at what they're talking about and you'll go, oh take a little bit more work than what this. Yes. And again, you can get a business credit card, but if you can grind it out and make the things and do the things and deliver the things yourself until they're mailing you offers for credit cards, why not? Mm-hmm. I think that the fast-paced world in which we live in is hard for people to actualize. The steps are a lot slower and a lot larger in this journey as entrepreneurs, and you have to. But you can't skip the step. Like you can't walk in the house without opening up the door as an entrepreneur. You can't do that. No one can do that. So figuring out what that looks like for your business, knowing what your business needs, having those numbers. The funding is great, but then you get this pot of money and you still don't know what you're doing with it. Right. Or you still don't have the connections to help you take that equity and grow your business to scale for what you need to be. A lot of people don't even have a 5-year plan for their business. They have get to the end of the month plan.
Or they think that business revenue equals income. You know,
because you're not going to make money.
and that is not true. Like,
I don't know who needs to hear
if my
this.
business makes $100,000 a year, that means I'm making $100,000 a year.
It's
it's like,
not
that's not true.
I
That's
don't know
not
which camera
true.
is mine, but you will be poor.
There is a difference between revenue and income, right?
And there's a difference between net and gross and taxes.
Yes.
And when you get into the having to pay the taxes, it all looks a lot different when it comes in the door.
It does.
And it's okay. It's okay to not. A lot of businesses are not generating revenue for the first 3 or 4 years of business.
I think the IRS still gives you 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lot of businesses, the stat out there is a lot of businesses close within 5 years.
Yep.
So you have to know that. You have to know that information and be prepared to grow for whatever that looks like in your business. But being strategic in the way that you look at funding, especially if it's, first of all, if it's non-dilutive, because giving away equity in your business for funding may not be the first thing that you want to do.
Or for sweat equity. But I don't want to talk about that. We can unpack that in a whole different episode.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, because it's
But
going to
keep
happen.
going, keep
Blood,
going,
sweat, and
girl.
tears is
Keep
a real
preaching.
thing.
Yes.
So figuring out what that looks like, and I myself got an HFLA loan actually. So I started my business with the HFLA loan, Hebrew Free Loan Association, which is abbreviated to HFLA. We speak it quickly, but it's a tongue twister a little bit. So I started my business with the HFLA loan.
Okay.
And it was very strategic in which I placed it. We were starting our brick and mortar. I knew how much the cost would be. I knew how much the construction would be. I finagled to get it a little bit lower so I could have some working capital. And I knew what it was to launch my business. And it was an absolute perfect timing for me because I got everything that I needed and then COVID happened. So I had the work. I had the things. I just couldn't get people through the door.
Right.
So that pivot was easy because I had everything that I needed to be able to do all of it. I didn't have to go and buy anything else.
Right.
I didn't have to figure out anything else. It was all right there. And everyone knows the things post-COVID prices are not the same as pre-COVID prices. So I got them at a cheaper price as well. So being able to invest in my business strategically helped me work through all of those pivots and those changes in which I had. And I was extremely grateful for that. So when the funding was paid off and we were back to figuring out what grants looked like, I still had the core needs of what my business was. And I was not afraid to make those big purchases. I was not afraid to say, hey, this is going to be $1,000.
Right. Or I got to build out my staff. I got to hire somebody.
I have to train them. I have
to
to figure out what that looks like. I have to buy a logo. I have to figure out what it looks like. I built my website on my own. You can ask my dad. I was up till 5 a.m. making my business plan. I didn't sleep, but I got it done.
Right.
And here I am today off of that, no sleep, no sleepless nights. And you're still going to have sleepless nights, but they're a little bit different.
Yes, you are. I had one yesterday,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really just because of work. It's a little menopause in there as well. So I can't just blame the business. I mean, the business might have started the fact that I couldn't fall asleep, but then my menopause kicked in and kept me up.
Let the business take the blow. It can't say anything back.
When I was done. So tell me a little bit more. So an HFLA loan
Correct.
versus a grant. You've mentioned both of them and you've utilized both of them. So tell us a little bit more about what HFLA loans are.
Absolutely.
Because they are a more non-traditional loan.
Correct.
And then also, what are some of the grant opportunities that you took advantage of?
Absolutely. So HFLA is a nonprofit organization. They have been in existence for a little bit over 120 years.
Wow.
And they started with 5 immigrant men that came to this country, Jewish men, and they wanted to build their community. And they said, hey, if we put our pot together for $500, we start our business, we grow the pot, and then someone else needs it, we'll give them the $500. And they donate into the pot, all while it being interest-free. And it's based off the premise in the scripture in the Bible that you do not charge interest to your fellow man. And that concept from 120 years ago is still the exact model that HFLA uses today.
I love it.
There are interest-free loans. A lot of them are across the country. They're capped. Each one has different caps for education, standard, debt relief, business plans, whatever you need. But they're all interest-free loans for you to be able to grow what you need in your business or in your life. And that also speaks to having a plan, having a vision, and being clear on it. HFLA knew what their market and their business was, and that principle still stands 120 years today. They built something that is 120 years old off of the same principle. McDonald's doesn't even look the same from day one to now.
No, I don't think
They are the same.
I think they got different French fries too. Yeah.
That's a different conversation for a different
I
day.
really do. I've had this conversation. I think that the French fries are different.
Because when I was a kid, I'd cry if you took my fry.
Me too.
Today,
now I'm like,
eh.
these are mid.
Yeah, now you can have a couple.
One of my sons said, these are mid, Mom.
Oh, mid is cute. So and it's off of that principle. Everybody changes, everybody grows, but being able to borrow funds with no interest for
That's
debt
amazing.
consolidation, it's unheard of.
That's amazing.
You get low interest loans, and there's amazing organizations out here that have that. But how many times are you hearing, yeah, no, it's no interest? Mm-hmm. Well, there's no interest, there's no application fee, there's nothing. And being able to have that opportunity and placing it and handling it strategically and knowing how you'll move afterwards really matters in a business. And it's the same thing. It gets confused a lot with grants, but it's the same purpose. How can you grow your business without making big life affecting changes in what you can do? Because interest can really bog down. Yeah, absolutely. It's in the interest that they charge nowadays it's crazy. It's sad. So
what do you need in order to even just get an HFLA loan? Like, obviously you have to present something, but what does it look like versus, what we traditionally see is needed?
And I think that the distinction between traditional and non-traditional lending needs to be talked about a little bit more, because there are a lot of similarities. Where they're going to ask for the same documents. They're going to ask for your income statements. They're going to ask for your projections, your state certifications. They're going to ask for a lot of these documents that you'll need. However, how they look at it is different. A bank is putting you into an algorithm. A bank is putting you into a customer plan, a formula.
Right.
They know that their customers look like this, have this, and pay this, and have discretionary income for this.
Formula.
It's an underwriting formula, and if you don't fit it within that box, then it's nothing personal. It's business, and they'll tell you no. Non-traditional lending doesn't look within that box; they look within the person. And that is a lot of what HFLA does.
I love that.
We are looking at your repayment history. We're looking at what you've been through. We're looking at how you survived, what your perseverance looks like, your grit looks like. Are you prepared and plan to pivot? What does it look like in terms of education? What does it look like in terms of how your business is sustaining you? Are you full-time? Do you have another job? Are you going to grow from that? And those, a lot of times, are the decisions that we make. We want to get paid back because, again, that loan is interest-free. We don't make any money off of it. So every dollar that you pay back turns around and goes back into the community. So the money that I paid back to, I know some entrepreneur right now today is paying that back. I gave that money back to my community. And I'm grateful to have that opportunity. And then now that I'm working on the other side of it, I'm grateful to be able to see that same glimmer of hope that they had in me 7 years ago. I'm able to look into someone else and say, I know you're going to pay this money back by any means necessary because you understand the opportunity of it, the strategic way in which your business will be able to grow, and then you can feed back into the ecosystem of Ohio to be able to do so. So it is definitely, duality is very, very nice, fun thing.
It.
But
yeah. What about the grant part? What did you do for the grants, and how did you find those?
I told you
I get the questions all the time. Or do I know of any grants? So for for-profit specifically, right? Because nonprofits, it's a whole different world. But a lot of my entrepreneurs, my audience, ask me, CP, do you know of any grants? And so I'm always like, yes, there's different ways. There's different, look at SBA, look at various things. You can find them over here, over there. What were some of the things that you tapped into?
I tapped into every local resource that put business on their website. I wish that I had AI back when I started my business, because it would have been so much easier to make a list of people. And so it's, when people ask me about grants, my next question is, what are you willing to do?
Right.
Are you willing to sit down in the class and take notes and record? If not, then you can put your name in the pot for these huge grants that are looking for a specific person in a specific algorithm. But if you are willing, on my phone to this day, I have hours of all of the courses that I went through. I went to all of these free programs at the library. I went to our local MBAC, which is our Minority Business Assistance Centers, our Women Business Centers. I went to all of the programs that they had. Corporate College has a lot of these programs. Go to these programs, record on the memos on your phone, take notes, have a dedicated binder for those things, and listen to everything. You don't have to take in everything, but if something is specific to your business that you need to know, write it down. Figure it out. Go back and listen to it. All of these things absolutely matter. Are you willing to be a student to the game of entrepreneurship? Especially because they're teaching it in college now, and it wasn't in college when I was starting out.
It's a whole major.
Which is so crazy.
It's a major now.
The major is not going to tell you about the grind.
They are not. They are going to miss that whole thing.
You're going to miss that whole thing. And then when you get out in this real world and you start to be an entrepreneur and you realize that it's very similar, but there are life skills that you have to pick up. A lot of times you hear there's street smarts and there's book smarts. An entrepreneur, you need both.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love the program here at Corporate College, and I've been such a partner with them for so long, and even teaching in the program is because, it's taught by folks who are living it every single day, and so there's definitely practical knowledge that you'll learn, but then there's this whole shift that you will also get when they're like, okay, so let me break this down how this worked today, literally today before I came in here, how this worked, in my business and how it could potentially
even
work in yours.
Even like you said, the SWOT analysis, I do it every year. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand doing marketing plans, but I need to.
That's why you should do it on your CEO retreat.
And it's so funny you said that because we have our team meetings every month. And then we just had our first annual outing. We just went out and just had fun. Because we needed it. And I sat with them and I said, we need to do a retreat. And we have to sit down for 2 days.
Yeah, you got to do one by yourself first.
Yeah. Oh, I do that.
All by yourself. I do one. Now mine is a whole week long. And we can have a whole nother episode
mine
about
is
it.
2 weeks.
I take a whole week. I go somewhere by a beach and I just do nothing but allow myself to work around the clock and work on my business. And then I involve my team at the tail end. So
yeah, mine's is 2 weeks in Arizona.
And it makes the SWOT analysis a little easier because there's wine. Yeah. Because I have wine.
Then everything's easier with wine.
Everything. So if someone listening today only did one thing, right? Because I got to let you out of here. We could talk for the next hour, but we will definitely have to schedule a second episode to unpack some of the stuff that we've been talking about. But if someone listening today only did one thing this week to strengthen their funding strategy in order to ultimately improve their entrepreneurial journey and experience, what should it be?
I have two.
Okay.
I have a tip for a service-based business, and I have a tip for a product-based business.
Okay. All right.
So if you are service-based, you're providing a service in which people don't leave with anything tangible outside of, feelings or, things. Rage
Coaches,
room.
Consultant service,
massages, rage rooms, anything like that. You have to sit down and figure out in funding positioning what your cost is, how much your time is.
You as the owner.
Yes. You as the owner. And that always includes the services you use, the products you use, the systems that you're using, but then your mental time. And I think that a lot of times we lowball ourselves or we don't really position ourselves as professionals in our industry within our pricing to say, if I'm meeting with you or I'm taking time out or I'm traveling to you, this is what my cost is. Every mile that's outside of our home base has a price to it.
Everything has a price to it, for
Everything
sure.
has a price.
Every
minute has a price.
Yes.
So figuring out what that looks like. As a rage room, I know if you're breaking a plate, I know how much that plate costs me. A lot of people don't do that. So as a service-based business, what is your number? For everything.
And what about the product-based business?
Product-based business, in terms of funding, please, I beg of you, as a loan officer, know your cost of goods.
Yes, cost of goods sold.
Cost of goods is everything. Know how
you
much
can't make decisions without that number.
That is, as a product-based business that's selling something, that is your bottom line because you don't have your products if you don't know what your cost of good. And I mean to the anthill. If you're using labels, how much does a label cost per bottle? Break it down. If it's a pack of 6 and that 6 gets you through 6 cases and then do the math of it. If you're using coconut butter, coconut oil, whatever the case may be if you buy it in a pound, how much the pound costs, how much they weigh it to put it in your bottle. I mean, down to the things you don't think about.
I love it.
Because that will tell you how much you need to sell it for. And then you can factor in your time. And then you can factor in everything else you want to do and how much you need to grow and what it looks like to get a co-packer and how much you need to be able to sell it for retail. and all of those decisions make sense.
I love it.
So those are my 2 tips for
I love it.
funding for businesses.
Yes, that's awesome. And basically know your numbers, because you can't make decisions without those numbers. And she was able to take that P&L statement and break it down to just 2 things. So make sure that you know that. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Mara, for being here.
It was a joy. It's a pleasure.
we have so much we can unpack. We can do a whole nother episode,
Let's
and maybe
do
we'll
it.
be able to get that together,
Let's do
because
it.
your knowledge, your energy, your inspiration to what you've done in your business
Thank
is
you.
great. And I am sure everyone watching got so much out of today. So until next time, guys, see you soon. Mwah!